August 15th. Well, hey there everyone, Kaye here on my homestead in Tennessee. I'm snowed in still, and I'm getting a great kick off of that snow-covered hillside behind me through my kitchen window. So it's much lighter in here than usual, and I thought I would take a moment. I was reminded that I said when I fermented some vegetables in one of my videos last fall, and I'll be sure and share that video right up there, that I would check in and see how my ferments went. This was my first year of success with fermenting. And I want to show you what's left. I already ate some of it, and I haven't done that comparison or that evaluation of how things went. I do know that I had one fail, but that was out of at least 10 half gallons of vegetables that I fermented. And I ate all of the salsa. That went right away. That all did great, and I ate that right away. And then I moved on to tomatoes. I have 1/2 gallon of tomatoes left, and you just saw I took all the jars out of the refrigerator where I stored them in the top shelf. That's always a good idea, or in the door. That's what I was told. And I learned everything that I know about fermenting from Mary at Mary's Nest and Stacy at Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. Stacy was here in April of 22 when they passed through. Doug and Stacy stopped in, and I did a video with her right in my dining area over there where she went through all of my ferment fails and told me how to do it better. She went through all the problems that you have with fermenting and answered all your questions. So I'll put that link up there as well. So let's just take a look at what's left and do a taste test. Okay, I tell you, learning how to do fermenting and being able to enjoy those vegetables, which taste pretty fresh, even a month, 2 months, 3 months after you pick them, because of the fermentation process, is a wonderful thing, and I highly recommend it for everyone, especially people who are growing their own food. But you know, you can go to a farmer's market, buy fresh organic produce from another farmer or gardener, and you can do it as well. So I focused on tomatoes, peppers, I did a little okra, and cucumbers, of course. And so it seems like there's some cucumbers missing. Let me just look again in there. I did find one more jar. It's a quart of okra. Now be sure and go back and watch the video where I packed a couple of these half gallons and see how I did it with the grape leaves and all of that, because of the tannins keep the vegetables crisper, longer. At any rate, this is just okra, and sometimes there's just the white cayenne yeast on the top, and you can just scoop that off. I usually scrape off just the top layer of vegetables, and sometimes some of the brine goes along with it. But you want to, change your lid, put on a fresh lid, wipe it, and then store it after the fermentation process. And those fermentation times and everything depend on the weather, the temperature in the house, and all of that. So go back and watch the other videos about fermenting. But I noticed this, I did this in 824. That's when I put the vegetables in the jar. And they look good. There is a little bit of white residue on the bottom. But one of the things that Stacy says is your nose knows. So you always want to smell. And you do this, of course, after it's finished fermenting. And at any time you can, after it's been in the refrigerator. And that smells totally fine. So we're going to... the brine doesn't come all the way to the top, and I did put one very hot pepper in here. You see that culprit right there? Yeah, that could really affect things. I'm going to dig down in here and get one. Now, if you don't love okra, you might not love fermented okra, because it's still going to be slimy, but it's crisp and fermented. So here we go. I'm going to taste it. Wow, and it's just got enough heat to make it interesting, but it's not too hot that it's uncomfortable. That's a success. Wow. I mean, I really do wish that the brine had been over the top of the vegetables, but I just poured off a little too much when I opened it. Now this one, as you can see, I was really eating on this. I was eating some of these in my salad. Remember when I was eating all those fresh broccoli salads? I was putting a handful of these on each of the salads. And so I was dipping in and out of this jar a lot. And now it has this film on the top and everything. And so I am not going to eat these. I will take a sniff just to see if I can smell anything. Yeah, it smells completely different. So that's going out. So I have this jar of peppers that I've been working on for a while. And you can see that the brine is kind of cloudy, but there's nothing wrong with it. And we're going to try it. So, ooh, that smells so good. I put garlic in almost everything. Sometimes I like to just get rid of the basil leaves, you know, when I first open it, because they get really slimy and mushy, and they give it great flavor, but you know, I'm not going to be eating that. So here's a pepper. It's delicious. It's salty and a little garlicky, not much, and basil flavored. It's absolutely delicious. So let's move on to some of the others that I haven't opened since they've been in the refrigerator for a while. I did a video, you may recall, and I'll put the link right up there, where I did 2 half gallons in that video. And inside were lemon cucumbers, regular cucumbers, okra, garlic, and grape leaves. Now I learned this trick from my friend Daryl, and I have a video that I'll put up there of him when he made his pickles. He grows a lot of cucumbers and a lot of dill, and he grows grape leaves, and so he makes his own pickles, and he eats a lot of pickles. And so he explained to me, and I knew this, that the grape leaves provide tannin, which supposed to keep the vegetable crisper longer. So in one of these jars I put whole big cucumbers. I don't want to take a bite out of one of those, but let's just go for, this is the whole, I did whole vegetables in one, and then I cut up the vegetables into more uniform size. So let's open that and try it. That smells so good. I have to give you a look. You can kind of see on top that the brine is clear, and I have dill floating on the top. And I will just kind of avoid that because dill looks like this after it's been in the brine for a few months. Here we go. So this is lemon cucumber. This is what it looks like after it sits in the brine. Juicy and tastes very much like dill. Let's get an okra. is so good. Let's do a smell test on this one as well. I did these the same day. Mmm. That smells great. Let's just try an okra. Mmm. So good. Okay. This, I believe, is just peppers. Not even sure I put garlic in here. Yeah, there's garlic. And basil, I think. Yeah. Basil, garlic, and peppers in this one. Mmm. It smells great. Mmm, that basil. Wow. Okay, here's a pepper. The flesh of... There were some hot peppers in there. The flesh of the pepper just melts in your mouth. The skin still has some, I mean, you can taste the skin in your mouth. It's fine. Okay, and here we have the cherry tomatoes. And I've got a date of 8/15/23 on there, so that would be 5 months. This has been in, you know, well, at first it fermented and then it went into the refrigerator, so it probably fermented for 3 days, 3 or 4 days, because, you know, and you'll learn this when you watch the other fermenting videos, is the time it takes depends on the weather. You know, usually you're fermenting when the harvest comes in August, and it's hot in your kitchen, hotter in your kitchen, and it takes less time, and so that's why you have to check it, burp it, and all of that, unless you use a top that burps itself. So let's try a tomato. This is my absolute favorite, basil and tomatoes with garlic. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get a big one. Ooh, that might be a little hard to eat. We'll see. Okay, here we go. I believe this was it's one of those stripy tomatoes I grew. It's kind of big for a bite, don't you think? Well, we'll try it. So good. I had to dab that off because I was dripping. Well, I just think they're wonderful. The tomatoes would be, of course, the longer they stay, the tomatoes stay in the brine, they get mushier. But they're still a probiotic. They're still great for your gut. They're just not going to be as firm as if they were fresh, you know, because they've been in the brine. But anyway, I highly recommend trying fermenting your vegetables, fermenting your harvest. It's just another way to preserve your harvest. Now, it's not going to be like canning where you can put it on the shelf for 5 years. No, you need to keep it in cool storage until you eat it. And they could last for 3 to 5 months, maybe longer. Always remember to do the smell test, and you can see if they're still good. Just your nose knows. These are all half gallons, and I've got 1 quart of okra left. But did you know that you can drink the brine? Just a couple of sips. You don't want to go overboard. You don't want to upset your stomach. But it is actually good for you. And I think it tastes great. Let's try it. Wow. Basil, garlic, pepper. Yum. like I said, you don't want to go overboard with that, but just a couple of sips. Sometimes I go to the refrigerator and go, I haven't had any probiotic today. And I just take a little sip. I don't drink out of the bottle. Just, keep it clean. You want it to last a long time, so don't double dip your forks and everything, because I think that's what happened to that one. I was working out of that jar like every day, and then all of a sudden it got, so I think that that you need to keep it clean and do that. Well, I hope that's been of interest to you, and I hope I've answered your questions about how my ferments did this year. This was the best year yet, and obviously I'm going to be working off of these until, as long as they taste good. And it would be fantastic if it lasted until I got some vegetables this year, but I can't imagine that would be the case. The earliest I would be getting tomatoes would be end of July, August, so that's a while from now. We're in January, but this can offer you a lot of nutrition and health during the winter months. So I hope you'll consider fermenting. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel, where I live on a homestead and I discuss sustainability, self-sufficiency, making it on your own as an older person, finding good help, easy recipes from the garden, and preserving your harvest, so much more. I hope that's interesting to you, and you'll subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, scroll down and click all so you won't miss an episode. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless, and thanks for watching.